Welcome to Unstoppable AF. Unstoppable and funny.
Karen has been dying to have a Meet the Host segment where you get to meet the hosts. So we are technically like 3 minutes late. Congratulations, you've now met the host. We had nothing but tech problems this morning. So we saved them, though, for not having someone on our show. So it was really nice of us to not put our guests through a tech problem. We saved that for a Meet the Host show.
Exactly. I'm Karen Hall. I am the host of the podcast, The Empathy Advantage, and also, I can't even remember, The Hero Within.
Yeah, the Hero Within podcast.
I am where we tell stories about using emotional intelligence and how to navigate adversity. I'm also an emotional intelligence leadership coach, and I'm an executive producer with the Los Angeles Tribune and managing director of the Global Women's Journal. And my co-host Barbie, I will let you introduce yourself, because I know a lot of times people are like, wait, who are they? I mean, they hear our names, but they don't know, a lot of things about us. And people keep saying, I want to hear more about you and Barbie, because Barbie and I mean, when we are together, it is always fun. And honestly, for months, Barbie and I would just laugh and on our phone calls. And I said, Barbie, we cannot keep this to ourselves. We have to share this with the world. You are Lucille Ball. I'm Ethel. And so let's do a podcast. And that's how Unstoppable AF was born. Barbie also graduated from Second City in Chicago. She's an actress and a model. And so, Barbie, tell us more about you.
Well, Karen and I, we do have a ball together. And so one of the things that I've always done is, especially when I was on radio, and that's really the other thing that sparked this, was I missed being on radio. I missed that connection with my audience. And so having this right now gives me the opportunity to get back in front of people and bring comedy. And that was the other thing, is I'm like, I want to get back to that. And then when Karen kept saying we have to bring I'm like, okay, I'm not doing a solo project. Let's just make this a blowout comedy adventure. And really, it has been an incredible journey. We've met amazing people who are unstoppable and funny.
That's exactly right. And Barbie and I are unstoppable and funny too.
So I have a background. I'm an entrepreneur. With my partner, we bought a body shop, we bought a body shop in 2008 and turned it into a collision repair center with the top equipment. And now we're in the top 10% of the country of all the collision repair facilities. So I'm a woman in a man's world. That's been an adventure all itself. And then Karen and I we're both coaches. And one of the things I coach is communication, which men and women communicate so differently. I'm also putting it down in a book because it is funny. Forget men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Forget that. We're not. We think completely differently. And I've actually, with Karen. Yeah, Karen had me on a Tribune event where we did a whole segment on communication. So that in itself was hilarious. I think the comments were rolling with hilarity.
They did. Honestly, that is one of the things that for the event, it was such a highlight. And that's the thing about Barbie and I. When we speak together, we bring the energy, we lift the vibe, and the listeners just like they're so engaged because they have so much fun when we speak together. And Barbie is an amazing speaker, and we both love sharing the experiences that we have had with coaching, with leadership, with our clients, because when you hear from someone who has had these conversations with people and you hear how they gain that clarity, it's so insightful. And you're like, yeah, I wonder how I'm going to deal with that thing. And then you hear the process and you're like, oh, there's a way through this thing.
And the other thing that we do that most people don't do, and I did this on the radio, which is how I had so many followers, and Karen and I do it together. We share real life. One of the things about Unstoppable AF is we share real life. I mean, I've had several episodes where the technical difficulties were hilarious. I didn't hide them. You can see I'm looking all over. I look like I'm nuts, like I'm insane because I'm looking here and I'm looking there and I'm like, why is this not working? And I'm fighting with it during the whole moment because it's real, and I always tell the story about when I had to run the radio station for the first time. I can't park my car. I was, but everybody can relate because we all have these moments in our life that are absolutely insane. And most people bury them in the backyard and pretend they didn't happen. I tell anyone who'll listen because it's fodder and people laugh for hours.
Oh my goodness, this is so funny. Barbie, you're reminding me about, so my husband used to say to me, why do you tell people about, these things that happen to you and about your foibles? And I'm like, well, because I want to help them laugh. And I want them to know that they're not alone. And for me, I tell anybody who wants to listen too, because another thing is not only do I want to make them laugh, I want to make them feel good. I want them to feel better about their day. And so Barbie and I, we have plenty of foibles that we can share with you that make your day seem like a piece of cake.
I mean, even just this morning, here we are, we're going to do this meet the hosts thing. And we didn't have the link because of Easter, all this stuff. So we didn't advertise the show. So I don't know how many people are live today, but you'll get to see it later if you're not joining us live. So, and Karen couldn't get the link to work. She was going to do the link today. She couldn't get the link to work because suddenly her background was missing.
Yeah, it's like, and we were talking about how funny tech is and all the different things. Barbie was telling me a story one time when her battery was dying. She's on screen and she's having to bend over and find the cord and get the thing charging. And we always have things like that happen.
Well, my laptop overheats, so I have to leave it unplugged. And we're in the middle of a live show, and I always keep the cord in the same place. Well, magically it moved. I must have moved it when I was grabbing things. And so now here we are. We're in the middle of a live show, and I'm like, oh no, and I'm your battery flashing. So now I'm doing a hunt, which you can see because we're live. Now, most people probably would have turned the camera off. Oh, not me. I'm like, here we are. Carry on, people. I'm going to go find my cord. So, unless, of course, the whole computer shut down, and then I would have not been live anymore. Because I couldn't find the stupid cord.
And, it always seems to happen, like right when I was trying to get on, my computer's updating. And it's like, seriously? And then the internet went out. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. Right when we're trying to get on the air this morning, I just was like, oh my goodness. But you know what? If you don't laugh, you cry. And that's the thing about Barbie and I, is that we are so skilled at reframing things so that we can look at it differently, because that is one of the keys as an emotional intelligence leadership coach, is teaching the ability to have resilience. And when we can reframe things and have humor in the situation, that helps us regulate our nervous system. And that helps us to build resilience.
And it's also a bonus, because if you ever get either one of us to coach, you always get the other one as a bonus package, because we work together so much helping people.
Exactly.
Most people would never tell you they were 3 minutes late to go live. The entire series behind why. We want you to know.
Exactly.
People, we don't, that was one thing. I was talking to somebody who was talking about syndicating the show and putting it up on the live streams. And I said, we're real. We don't have a 3-minute opening, because if we had, it would have just really been more seamless. We don't need it. We don't have a 3-minute opening with unstoppable. And I mean, I can even see the way it opens. I can even see the typeset and the whole thing in my head. But for us right now, we're real. What you see is what you get. We just bring it to you right on. You just take it right to the wire.
Happening in real time, baby. And you know what, that Barbie, I just appreciate you bringing that up because we are authentic and we are willing to be vulnerable because that's who we are. And I don't know about you, but when I'm struggling, that's the kind of person that I want to talk to. I don't want to talk to the person who looks like everything's perfect because if everything's perfect in their life, then how are they going to relate to me? But if they share their struggles, I feel connected to them. And I say, yeah, that's the person that can relate. That's the person that understands how I feel. And I feel connected to that person. And as a speaker, that is so important to build that connection with the audience. And so when I do speaker training, that's one of the things that I teach people is you have to find the pain point. You have to share from a heart-centered space where you're willing to be vulnerable so that they can know that you do relate and they can build that connection with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so important. You know, your message and your delivery are so important. You know, whether you're a podcaster, whether you're a speaker on the stage, even in books, you can feel somebody's engagement when you're reading a chapter or an article. It's so important to use both of those as tools and not forget one or the other. And Karen and I both teach that. It's super important. Oh,
Yeah,
and going back one step, if you are a live streaming network and you are interested in us, should you need to add the tags, both the intros and the outros, we're not opposed to it. We're just not doing it now because it's not necessary.
oh my goodness.
We will do that for you if you're still interested. Just letting you know.
Just letting you know. Oh my goodness. Well, Barbie, tell us. I want you to tell us because this is one of my favorite stories. Tell us about parking the car story. Yeah, everybody, this is one of my all-time favorite stories that Barbie tells.
So if you've heard it, I apologize. Hope you're still enjoying it.
I
know it is one of Karen's favorites.
I enjoy it every time.
So when I worked at the radio station, we had to work on Saturdays and it alternated. So with all of the people, so you did it once every couple of months, a month and a half. But my first Saturday, I was a wreck. I'd never run the station by myself. And there was a rule you had to take it off a satellite at exactly 7 a.m. And okay. That seemed like that for me, that was nerve wracking. I don't, technology and all being what it is. So I took copious notes. I had pages and pages of notes of how to make sure that I did it correctly. I gave myself double time to get there and make sure that I was going to, be able to have a pot of coffee and sit down with all my notes and make sure I did each thing step by step. Well, so I get there. I don't know. It was so early. I don't even want to quantify it. It had to be like 5:30 or 6. I mean, it was so super early. And I pull up in front of the station and I jump out and I run to unlock the door and I look back and you could have parked a small bus between my car and the curb. So, okay, I go, all right. So I get back in the car and I park again and I get out and now it's a smaller bus, but still a bus. There is nobody on the street. It is literally me in the darkness and my car. I just want to preface that. I get back in the car, I park again. I'm on the curb, I'm off the curb. I'm on the curb, I'm off the curb. I got to a point where you could fit a car. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? But I cannot drive in reverse. I can't. I have many skill sets. That is not one. So now I'm starting to get panicky, which does not improve my parking. I'm back in the car. I'm on the curb. I'm off the curb. I'm on the curb. I'm off the curb. I finally get to a point where I look at the clock and it's now 6:45. I have somehow been parking my car for what seemed like hours. And I get out of the car. Now I am a complete disaster. I get out of the car and I look and you can park a motorcycle. That was the best it was going to get. And all I did, I look up and there are city cameras. And I'm like, I can only imagine the security forces. They have to be there on full at this point. They have now cleared the building and they are all watching this blonde try to park her car by herself on an empty street. I'm envisioning popcorn. I'm envisioning an entire event. And I'm saying to myself, if only the owner of the station saw that, he would be, at least I would be, in a full-blown panic thinking, she is really going to run my billion-dollar enterprise at this moment.
I know. And the visual, I mean, I could just see all the security guards huddled around the camera. Can you believe that? Oh my gosh. More popcorn.
Rewind, get more popcorn.
Look at her. She's doing it again. She still can't get it right.
And, they can see every on the curb, off the curb, on the curb, off the curb.
I don't know if you guys have seen the video of the woman at the gas station that can't get to the pump on the right side of the thing. And she keeps getting out and trying to pump the gas. And she's like, oh, she did it. She's on the wrong side. Okay, so she backs up. She turns around. She comes back. She parks again. She keeps getting on the same side. And the people that are filming it are just wheezing. And that's what happens with me and Barbie. She tells me stories, or I'll tell her a story about my life. And we just start laughing so hard that I start wheezing, and I almost go into an asthma attack because I start coughing so hard, and it is so funny. And you know what? That lowers cortisol, and that reduces our stress to be able to laugh. Laughter really is the best medicine.
Well, let me close the loop. I did get the station started at 7 a.m. Lord, I have no idea how. I never did get coffee that day, so I rolled without coffee. But I told that story to all the people. Then the piece de resistance is that as I'm telling the story, I somehow managed to get my headphone wire tangled in the bottom of my chair. So I'm telling the story to my listeners, and I'm getting further and further and further away. And I'm further from the microphone because as I'm trying to untangle it, I'm making it worse, which made me laugh even harder. Now, I want to tell you at 7 a.m. that yes, there were a lot of listeners, but that switchboard was glowing red. There was not an open line. And every caller that I spoke to was laughing so hard I could barely understand them.
That would be me.
And here's the thing. It wasn't even a podcast. It wasn't visual. It was radio. So they could hear me. And of course, what did I do? I immediately told them, hey, not only did I have this fabulous parking moment, but now my headphones are attached to my chair and I can't unwind them. And that's why I'm getting quieter. And I'm trying to raise my voice as I'm dipping to the floor. I don't think the listeners calmed down. I think we laughed for like the first 2 hours of that shift. And all the callers had stories to add.
That's the best part, is it makes your brain. I start thinking of my parking stories and trying to back up trailers. Oh my goodness, some of those moments have been pretty stressful. Especially, I watched this video of a woman who was trying to she was guiding her husband to park the trailer. And I've been in that situation and he doesn't understand me. And so then he's like, okay, you back it and I'll guide you. Well, that doesn't work either because I don't know what the signals mean. I'm like, just point. I just point the direction. And so he's pointing the direction he wants me to go. But of course, you turn the steering wheel the other way. So I'm like, just point the way you want the steering wheel to be turned. And I'm just like, what is it about the spatial orientation that I'm missing when it comes to backing up? I can drive forward with a truck and a trailer, but don't ask me to back up.
I can't do it without a trailer. So forget. Let me just tell you, if you're ever in a position with me where you need someone to back up a boat or move something or do a trailer, please don't ask me unless you want to be a guest on Unstoppable and tell the story.
Exactly. Or if you want to be the witness to the story, because I've had so many people get their popcorn and just laugh at me trying to park. And I jackknife. It's like, how can I jackknife every single time? But yeah, it's just what happens. And so just get me going forward and we are all good. And make sure that I have enough fuel to make it to my destination. Oh yeah, those, life is just full of those moments, and it just gets more fun. and then now my husband and I can't hear each other, So that's another whole element that adds to the humor at our house.
Well, I don't know what it is, but men, they don't ask for directions. They think men speak. When they speak, it's like a GPS thing. I mean, it's GPS instructions. That's how men speak. They don't, where women, we flower it up. We've got all these ideas, all these thought processes that go into the sentence, which of course is part of the communication breakdown, because after about the sixth word, men have stopped listening to you and they're pretending that they're absorbing what they're absorbing nothing.
I know. My husband always says, could you speak in bullet points? I'm like, but why? I mean, like, what's the efficiency here? You're sitting here, you're done with work. Well, what do we need? Why do we need to be so efficient?
Because that's the only way their brain processes.
Exactly. And the bandwidth, I mean, it's just interesting how women, we have even more connections between both hemispheres of the brain. And so our language processing is biologically wired different than men. And so there's a neuroscientific reason why there is this breakdown in communication.
Well, and I always talk about it as the Google tab syndrome. So men have one Google tab. They use it, they close it. They have another thought, I don't know, somewhere down the day, they open one Google tab. Now, women, we have 30 to 60 Google tabs open at all times. We understand each and every tab, and we're going back and forth between them, gathering information, writing, creating, and doing things. Where men, that tab is their brain. That thought disappears with the tab and they never think about it again. We're working on it for weeks.
I know. Oh my goodness. And I have 100 tabs or more open. I mean, I am notorious for that. I was at a conference and they were showing us this software, and I had the software, and I went and I said, I need some help, using this. And the guy, he looked at my tabs and he said, how many tabs do you have open? I said, probably like 100. And then my computer froze and he said, ma'am, he said, you are in tab foreclosure. He said,
well, and by the way, his computer tab brain had already frozen. Just the thought of you having 100 tabs open. He froze before Google did.
I know, it's exactly right. And we just laughed and laughed. And so I had to close the whole thing out, and start over with one tab. And then I couldn't refer to the thing that I needed. I'm like, well, now I don't have all the other tabs open.
And that's what I mean by we are capable of utilizing each and every open tab, where men have one.
Exactly.
Women, can you imagine the handcuff feeling you would have if you only were allowed to open one tab on your laptop or computer or phone? I mean, can you imagine?
I know it would. It just and it's
my phone erases the first one at 99, and I'm always frustrated by that message. We've erased a tab. Like, what do you mean you erased a tab? I'm using it.
I know. I have had the exact same experience. I'm like, but wait, I needed to refer back to that.
Right.
Oh my heavens, Barbie. This is we just have to keep laughing, because these challenges exist in so many arenas between men and women. And it really is funny. And so when we can understand it, then it doesn't turn into the same level of frustration. And we can even
one of the things we teach, because there are a lot of entrepreneurs that when you start hiring people, you start having now to deal with somebody who has a different brain pattern than yours. It can get very frustrating. So, or if you're in the corporate world and you're leading teams, or you're leading, holy cow, if you don't recognize that people's brains work so differently, you are in a world of hurt, my friend. So one of the things we teach is how to communicate with people that think completely differently than you do, because you're going to find it, whether in the work world, in the friendship world, in the romantic world, you're going to need to know how to arm yourself with these tools.
Absolutely. And when you're dealing with it and it starts to be frustrating and your emotions start to escalate, I teach how to regulate your nervous system, because if you can recognize and think of the 100 tabs versus the one tab and find some humor at that moment, you can calm your nervous system, and then you can lead effectively and communicate effectively. And you can use all of Barbie's amazing mansplaining tools to help with this interaction, because there are some very challenging conversations, but with the right tools that we teach, you can be successful as a leader with your team. And that makes all the difference, because when you as a leader are calm, when you find the humor, when you are able to communicate effectively, it trickles down to the whole team, and the whole team regulates their nervous system and feels more calm when you do. So it's very
People are
powerful.
more creative, because stress
Yes,
stops creativity right in its tracks. So,
absolutely.
it really is finding the humor in life. One of the reasons that we exist on your screen right now, finding the humor in life is so vitally important. And there isn't enough of it in this world. There
Yep.
just isn't. And laughing at yourself instead of, I don't know, you may know someone, or you may have done this to yourself, but I have moments where I do wish to throw my phone, or I wish to throw my laptop, but instead I stop, I start laughing, and I realize the absurdity. I do know people whose laptops and phones have leapt themselves across the room. It's not a good idea.
Then you have an additional problem of replacing it.
Or bringing it to someone to fix it. So it finding the humor in everything is such an important component of life. It just
And
is. I
yes,
find the humor in everything.
yes. And that is one of the things that I love about Barbie, is that we do find the humor together in everything. And the other thing that is, I think, so interesting about humor is that when I am with somebody who is humorous, I'm more humorous. And then we just kind of feed off of each other, and it just gets more and more funny. And Barbie and I, we cannot go anywhere without laughing together. It's just impossible. And we have so much fun together.
Well, and we draw people toward us, because
Yeah.
the laughing energy is what people are attracted to. So it is an energy that emits from you when you start looking at life that way. It is amazing. It's like a magnet drawing people to you, because everyone wants to laugh. Everyone wants to feel that. But you literally have to reprogram and reframe how you see things in order to do it all the time. I mean, people say, well, I can't be funny like you all the time. I can't laugh like you all the time. I'm thinking to myself, honey, it's work. But it's a very valuable piece of work that makes sense. I mean, I was born to be an optimist. I mean, I can't bypass that. But I wasn't born with an on-off switch. I just flip on laughter, and there I go. I mean, I have to reframe the things that happen. My life could be a mini series on television. I mean, a dramatic, tear-jerking mini series on television, but Lord, who wants to be around that? So I just find the funny in the tragedy, because you have to.
Exactly. You have to. If you, like I said, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And the other thing that is so interesting about humor is you can actually learn humor. I know some of the people who have been, who say what Barbie does. Well, I'm not funny like you are. Well, guess what? You can learn to be funny. Yeah,
Yes.
you can actually learn it. And the other thing is, you can learn to think differently, so you can see the humor in situations. And the other thing that I think is fascinating about humor is that funny equals money. And if you can be funny,
Right.
you can earn more money. And this blew me away when I was reading about the statistics of people that were humorous. And even in relationships, when you can add humor to a relationship, you can promote whatever you are doing more effectively, and it strengthens relationships. And so you are more successful interpersonally when you are funny, and you're more successful financially. So there's a lot of reasons to add humor to your life. And that's why you need Barbie and I as part of your life.
Well, and let's take it one step with that. I mean, if you have a handful of friends and you're going to do something, do you want to go out with the person who's funny and who makes you laugh and you have so much joy in that moment? Or do you want to, call the person who's always funny? And is that the person you want to spend your free time with? You will help them when they call you, you'll come running, but is that the person that you really want to go and have a cup of coffee with and laugh with? Well, if they can't laugh, chances are no.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing in business. Are you faster to pick up calling somebody in business that you go, oh my gosh, they're going to lift my day. They always make me laugh. You faster to pick up the phone and call that person than the person who's like, well, no, guess who you're calling?
Right. And the other thing is, who do you want to listen to when you're at a conference? Do you want to listen to the dry, boring speaker?
Oh.
Or do you want to listen to the person that makes you laugh? And guess what? As an event producer, I want to have a speaker that makes the audience laugh. And
Yes.
I know that event producers appreciate that about me and Barbie, because as speakers, we help the audience connect through laughter. And that's a very powerful mechanism as a speaker. So if you're interested in having Barbie and I as your keynote speakers, just check out the ticker tape that's going across. And you can call us and book us for your next humorous motivational speakers. You love that. And so a shameless plug right there.
Yeah, I see that. That's awesome.
Yeah. We are running out of time, but once again, it's been a wonderful experience being with you on Unstoppable AF, bringing humor, bringing more laughter to help you have a better day and a great start to your week.
So I'd like to close then with the great words of Frank King. If you enjoyed this program, please subscribe, please follow, please like, tell all of your friends. And if you didn't enjoy this program, then we really hope you have no friends. Until next time on Unstoppable AF, see you next Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, noon Eastern Time. Have a wonderful week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.